We are joined by European football expert Andy Brassell. When I say expert, I mean expert. Great to see you again, Andy. First of all, let's start with Lionel Messi last night and Argentina. How impressed were you with both?
Wow. It was pretty fantastic. I think once they got the first goal, it was only going one way. And I think it is the natural peaking of what Messi's been building towards. He's been building towards this World Cup for a really long time. We were talking yesterday, weren't we, about how he had an incredible pre-season, a very, very good first part of the season with PSG. You compare that to last season, he was where, and I hate to do the comparison, where Ronaldo is now, having had no pre-season, looking a bit his age. Prep is everything when you're that age, however good you are. And he's just peaked at the right time. It's a little bit like Zidane in 2006, though. The level is so incredibly high. I think if you look at Zidane's club form for Real Madrid for the last 18 months before the 2006 World Cup, you thought, OK, he's on the way down, he's on the way out. You know, he's still great to watch, he's still got aura, all that sort of stuff. But it's like Messi has said, actually, this is my time. This is my last moment to grab this stage, and I'm going to do it. And it just... his best comes out of nowhere, almost. We
were talking earlier about how impressed we were with Julian Alvarez. What did you make of him?
Yeah, I thought he deserved his goal and that assist. I mean, it's going to be assist of the tournament, whatever happens in these next couple of games, because the fact that he did it to Joško Gvardiol, who's been so great all this World Cup and is very much the future of centre-backs. Look, OK, you may be the future, but I'm the best. I'm going to show you. And Alvarez has made Messi look so good. I think it was time for Messi to sort of return the compliment as well, because he's done so much selfless running for him. I think Messi deserved to give him his little caveat.
What about Enzo Fernández? We were talking about him yesterday. He's been brilliant for Argentina and linked with Liverpool. Is he the type of player that they need?
100%, because they need legs in there. Liverpool have looked a lot leggier in midfield at various points this season. I think you look at, that's why Harvey Elliott, who has improved stratospherically, is why he's sort of shone out so much. It's a bit like Beckham at Real Madrid. He's so much more dynamic than the other players in midfield. It sort of makes him look a little bit slower, but they do need that extra energy. From the moment that Enzo Fernández arrived at Benfica, 5-10 games in, it was clear they wouldn't be able to hold him next season. He's just too good. I don't think he has actually been able to show his very best this World Cup. He's been in a slightly deeper register just because of what they need to do to get the best out of Messi. So I think when he finally does make it to the Premier League, people will be amazed at exactly what he can do.
How much would you have to pay to get him now?
A lot, because I think you always find that in Portuguese football, players are protected by these massive release clauses. Yeah. And that is the case with Enzo Fernández. I think it's around the €100 million mark. Now, they're not going to get that much, but it's a good negotiating position. You know, they're not over a barrel, Benfica, especially as they've done well in the Champions League over the last couple of years. That's brought a little bit of extra money into the coffers. I think we're looking around 60, maybe.
There have been so many standout performances, haven't there? Well, we did ask you to look at one player and one manager who have enhanced their reputations due to how they performed in the World Cup. So tell us which player and which manager you went for.
Well, player, Antoine Griezmann. And I think, you know, he's a player we know very well, obviously, already. But he's just thrived in a different role. I think if we look at his career, Bella, he's thrived in so many different roles. He's one of the most intelligent footballers out there. You know, he starts out as a left winger, then he's a right winger, then he's a centre forward, then he's a second striker. Now he's this box-to-box midfielder who I think would be amazing in the Premier League if that was to be the case. I think he's an Atletico lifer now, for what it's worth. But really, the fact that Atletico have been so dysfunctional has pushed him into a place where he's needed to support the team, and it's really helped France out. That's what Didier Deschamps is good at. He's good at looking what players are doing at club level and thinking, OK, I'll lean into that and I'll make the most of their current form. I think he's been the player of the tournament. I don't know about you.
See, when you look at Griezmann, I know, I mean, there's no doubt in his talent and everything, but he's now at 30. Why did it not work for him at Barcelona?
I think because he wasn't the main guy. He was always the main guy at Atletico. And not just in terms of his talent, but in terms of setting the tempo. Why Diego Simeone has always loved him so much is because I think there's this kind of narrative that Simeone creates players into, these dogs of war who do so much work. But Griezmann arrived like that already.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got like 6 lungs. It's incredible the amount of running he gets through. At 31 years old, it's phenomenal. I mean, I think if you looked at his running stats through the Champions League, and remember, because of that clause in his contract, he wasn't starting the games at the start of the Champions League. And you look at it, he ran 10 kilometres more than Federico Valverde, who's the most hard-working midfielder out there. I find that astonishing.
I remember you just discussing that clause in his contract. It was mind-blowing what was happening with Griezmann there. But just the manager of the year's masterminding an incredible run at Morocco. Your manager of the tournament, sorry.
Yeah, Walid Regragui, I think he's been absolutely fantastic. Now, he's got this history with France, of course. He was born and brought up there. He was actually teammates with Olivier Giroud at Grenoble for a little short while.
Really?
They've been publishing these fantastic photos of them having a pre-season together. And Giroud, who obviously looks impeccably turned out these days. He's got his Hasselhoff mullet flowing in the back. It looks fantastic.
Sounds like you looked even better back then.
It's wonderful. So they're going to be coming up against each other. But bear in mind, he's only been in charge for 8 matches. Like Didier Deschamps has been in charge for like 150 for France. So given that he took over that chaos from Walid Halilhodžić, quite a confrontational character, it's fair to say, the previous coach of Morocco, he's managed to calm everyone down, reintegrate players like Mazraoui, like Hakim Ziyech, who's been brilliant. And Ziyech has put in incredible defensive efforts as well. If you look at them defending as a team, you don't necessarily expect those defensive efforts from the likes of Boufal and Ziyech. But he's got everyone on the same page so quickly. It's super
Looks happy as well, doesn't he, Ziyech, in the national
he's
side?
played with a lot more
Much
intensity
happier,
in this competition, I feel, than he does.
That's what Chelsea does.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
He digs at England every day, dig at Sunderland today, dig at Chelsea.
Yeah, to dig at your trainers as well.
I'm not staying around for the Wimbledon disses.
He'll be thinking one now. He won't listen to anything now. What can I say about Wimbledon?
Is there a chance we could see the manager take up a club job after this?
Well, maybe, because he's been in charge for such a short time. People are going to be sitting up. There's no doubt about that. Especially teams in France. If you look, there's been such a high turnover of coaches in Ligue 1 already this season. I mean, almost half the coaches have gone since the start of the season. So there will be those opportunities out there.
Now, if France do get past Morocco tonight, can they get past Argentina in the final?
Yeah, I think they can.
Yeah?
And I'm not just looking back at that last 16 game in 2018. I don't want to get into this whole sort of passing of the torch from Messi to Mbappe as the world's greatest player, but it is kind of irresistible as well. What I think is the incredible thing, we talked about Messi pacing records, and Mbappe's been doing the same thing throughout the World Cup. He's such an incredibly intelligent footballer. I love the way he does that. And of course, we talked about Griezmann doing all that running for him.
But of these maybe European players or anyone who's done well at these World Cup, which ones could you see making a big move either around Europe or to the Premier League?
Well, we looked at Morocco. We talked about Sofiane Amrabat yesterday, who I think a big club will have a punt for. I think you look at Angers and the position that they're in, sort of anchored to the bottom of Ligue 1, lost 7 games in a row. Sofiane Boufal could be on the move when it comes to January. Oh, of course, we know him, and he didn't quite make it at Southampton. And I think you look across the midfield, and you look at Azzedine Ounahi as well. Only 22 years old, really good dribbler, plays a little bit further forward in that midfield, never gives the ball away. For a team that are always under the cosh at that level. And Saïd Chaban, the president of Angers, he's already said, look, if we get offers for these players, we can't keep them. There's absolutely nothing we can do about it. They badly need the money. If anyone's listening, they really do need the money, so make them an offer.
And Andy, there are reports that Real Madrid want to sign Jude Bellingham. Could that happen?
I think they've got a crack. They have been working on this deal for a year and a half. Now, clearly, there are parts of his entourage that would like him to come back to England. And, Liverpool are in it. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I think you look at Bellingham and you look at the way he looks at things, he's incredibly ambitious. He's got his head on his shoulders. And I think if you drop that little carrot of thinking, you can take over from Modric, you can be in this midfield with Tchouaméni, with Camavinga, maybe you can be part of the best midfield in Europe for like the next 10 years.
Jude, but Jordan Henderson hasn't left Jude's side, has he, all World Cup?
And Trent Alexander-Arnold's become good friends with him as well.
He left his side last Sunday.
See, we keep teeing him up.
I teed him up for that. My bad.
Oh, yeah. How
Sorry, Tom, see if we were talking about Jude Bellingham. Will he be looking at the likes of Jadon Sancho in terms of the similar story, moved away, coming back? It's not really happened for him. Maybe an opportunity to go to Real Madrid and show, well, I'm at the biggest club in the world.
Maybe. I mean, it must be tempting.
Yeah.
You look at the way they're doing up the Bernabeu as well. You know, it's going to be one of the destination stadiums, if not the destination stadium in the world. And how they've moved from having this really experienced side to maybe building the side of the future. They've done it really well.
do they have the money now to afford them? Because there has been talk over the past few transfer windows that Real Madrid and Barcelona can't spend, although we've also been told that on one side of that, that's maybe a little bit of a myth. Can they afford Bellingham?
I think they can, Tom, because they've managed their finances very cleverly over the last couple of years. They've got rid of some absolutely massive contracts. You look at Isco going, you look at Bale going, that's a huge one, as you say. Now, $500 million has gone into the stadium, but they will expect that to make money back for them. And they've been quite prudent in recent years. Now, I expect the next to go will be probably Eden Hazard. You look at a couple of others that are going to go. Maybe Toni Kroos will leave at some point down the line as they make that midfield a little bit younger. And of course, the big thing, they didn't spend that money on Kylian Mbappe last year. You know, bear in mind when he had
70 million for Casemiro as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not as if they've just wasted money. A lot of, when you look at, especially, I mean, Spanish clubs over the years have bought players in for massive wages, and I ended up having to give them away, for next to nothing.
Yeah.
You know, Barcelona spring to mind, and that's probably why they're in the mess they're in. But Real Madrid are different.
Yeah, they're really good sellers of players that they don't want anymore. And they've done that, if you go back over the years, they did that with Ozil, Di Maria. You know, players that all of football knew that they didn't want anymore, and they still managed to extract good value from them.
How much is Bellingham then, do you think?
A lot.
Yeah.
I think we're looking around 120. Because I think...
Has he got a clause in his contract with regards to a release?
He doesn't.
Okay.
So Dortmund, in that sense, are in a strong position. Like that, though. But in another sense, again, they're not in a great financial position. They were really badly hit by COVID. They've not done as well on the pitch as you would expect over the last couple of years. And they have got a lot of big contracts with experienced players like Hummels, like Emre Can, who's contracted till 2024 and not really doing anything there. These guys are on massive wages, and that's a real drain on them. It's not the young players that are the issue. Yeah. It's the experienced players who aren't doing it, and that puts them in a slightly vulnerable position.
Oh, it's been great having you back in the studio, Andy. Thanks ever so much.
Once again.
Yeah, excellent.